Alright class, today we're looking at making title blocks and borders. We're going to be doing this with your birdhouse project. So if you could open up your birdhouse project to the orthographic sheet, we're going to move over to the very bottom of the tools. And you can see that there's dimension notes. It looks like a little ruler. Click on that, and then what's going to open up is this title block border tool. It's going to show where it's going to go in dotted line. If you click on it with the left key, then it locks it in place. Then you're going to want to edit it. Come over to title block border settings, and where the first thing you're going to want to do is get rid of the grids. So click off the show grids. All right, you're going to hit OK, and that should get rid of the show grids. And the next thing you're going to want to do is come back, and now you're going to want to edit the border, the sheet border, and that you're going to edit this down from a 1/2 inch border down to an 1/8 inch border, which will give us a 1/4 inch border with the printable size. Okay, hit OK, and that should make it now smaller. You have both of those things. If it's ghosting like that, just hit the select tool. The last thing that we want to set up when setting this up is the actual title block. In that case, double click on this, and this dialog box will pop up that says title block layout. You're going to hit OK. Now you're going to create a box to go at the bottom. So what I would do is 4:4, and we're creating it in actual size. The height 1 inch is fine. The width 8 inches will work to fit in here. Hit OK. You're going to move down here, and this will actually self-locate, so it's not that big of a deal if you don't get it exactly right. In here, we want another box. That is for your pages. 4:4. In this case, we want the box to be 1 inch by 1 inch. We'll hit OK. Go right there. I'm going to split this in two, so we have a top and a bottom. And then we'll divide it into like 6 sections. Just like this. And we might move these a little bit later to make them fit. Okay. Now right here, we're going to put in the number. I'll just use number 1. This will be attached to metadata, so it will be changeable. We're going to make this nice and big. Right here. We don't have any background on it. Then I'm going to add another line underneath it. That's accepted as saying 1 of. You could also write of or total pages below it. Any of those things are acceptable. I'm going to write down here X, because that's going to be set up to the metadata, but we need something there. Okay. Now, the other things that we're going to put up here is project, and that we can just use a 12 font, project. And the way I do it to keep these things aligned is something like this. Drawing. That means what the drawing is. Ground plan, section, elevations. Okay. And the last thing we need on this line will be the scale. Something like that. We don't need a lot of room for that. put that there. Now, here's what I do to keep them nice and lined up. And then I just type on here. Why don't we put class? This is this class. Drawing, this would be your name. Student. And the last thing, scale becomes date. And that is how I set up a more or less generic title block, which for a project this size is fine. We need the project, what drawing the drawing name is. We need the scale, the class, which is sort of the producer, and then the student, which is you, which would be the designer, and date. So that's as simple as it is for setting up the generic title block. Okay, the next step is to start adding in some of the larger titles. So we're going to go through Title Block Manager, maybe lower this a little bit. Okay. And the things that aren't going to, there's no reason to hyperlink them or data link them, would be like the project title. In this case, it's Birdhouse. That is not going to get updated. Let's make the font size a little bigger, make it like an 18. Okay. Here we go. Now I do the same thing. I'm just going to move this here. That we will link. The student we will not need to link. And the class we will not need to link. Scale and date. Scale can be linked, but the way Vectorworks shows it is not the way we show scale. So it is accurate, but it will show it in a ratio. We don't always use ratio. In this case, for this project, we do, but I would say it's usually not. We generally write it out as 1/4 inch equals a foot, versus Vectorworks shows that as 1:48, or 1/2 inch is 1:24. So this scale, we can just put in the scale. In this case, it's 3 inches equals, I put a space there just to make it look a little bit easier, less crowded. Another space. Okay. It's also 1:4, so it could be represented as a ratio. Date, that we will hyperlink. Student, put my name for this. You should put your name. And then for class, we will put this class. Okay. For the things that we're going to set up as data links, this would be the first one. And what you're going to do is click on it. Then you're going to go not into it, but just on it. Like into it would be like this to edit. Onto it is like that, where it's still boxed in. Then you're going to move over to the right-hand side where it says title block data, not link. You are going to change this to link value, and you're going to change this to sheet data, sheet number. Okay? And it'll automatically update to the 3rd sheet. The X below it, then we're going to link that as well. Make sure we're clicked on it. Okay. Data type, link value. That is going to be total number of sheets under project data. Right there, orthographic views. As long as you put in the sheet titles that you want, they will self-populate. Okay, the last is the date. Click on where it says birdhouse, which is our placeholder for date, link value. That you're going to come down and you can do sheet date. There. Okay. 3, 3, birdhouse, orthographic views, your scale, the date, student name, and class. Again, the ones that are going to be data linked are your page numbers for each sheet, total page numbers, the drawings, which is like the drawing title, the date, and that's really it. On the design layer, you're going to take and switch this to front view, and then you want to switch from orthogonal to normal perspective, and then Shift C lets you move around. And we're going to create what we call a pictorial image for the cover sheet. That's pretty common to have one on a cover sheet. We're going to go View, Create Viewport. I want to do this on the cover sheet. Drawing label, drawing number 1. I would click off the drawing label for this. Even if it was a TD drawing, they usually wouldn't use the drawing label. Cover sheet. This is one of the few times you're probably going to use something larger than it. So we're actually going to make this kind of smaller. Or I should say it's bigger, but the number will be smaller. So instead of 1 to 1, we will go 1 to 0.5. So it's actually twice as big as it actually is, because we do want to fill that page. Detail high. In this case, I would not use shaded. I think hidden line looks best. But if you do choose to use shaded, it would be fine. It would totally look fine, acceptable. But you'd want to make sure you're setting the page to print at 300 dpi. Otherwise, it will look really like 8-bit pixelization. Like an ugly JPEG. Okay, here we go. We have this here. Move it right about there. We're going to hit update and we'll clean it up, make it nice and razor perfect. Now here's where we're going to put the schedule of plates, or you could call it list of drawings, drawing names, title of drawings, okay, or just simply drawings. Let's make that nice and big, maybe like a 48. Look at that. Boom. Okay. And you know me, I like to just do something like this. Bring that down to a more reasonable size, maybe like 20. And then your first page, ... cover sheet. Okay. Second page. Again, I like to just do this because then I know these things line up. And this is ground, plan, and centerline section. And the last one is orthographic views. Oops. Okay, cover sheet, ground plan, orthographic views. There you go. There is your first cover sheet.